Hello there, everybody. It is Duff Designs. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my newest course I just published. This one is called Bahalee Country Club, inspired off of Sahalee Country Club. Uh, this course took me somewhere around a month to build. I tried to be a lot faster with this one, as usually I sit on my courses for way too long and I don't end up publishing them, and I try to be way too much of a perfectionist, so I tried to finish this course at a fairly decent pace. My goal here was to do one hole a day, somewhere around that, so I could actually get this out in a decent time period compared to some of my other courses, which take me upwards of 3 to 4 months to do sometimes. So this one being in around a month was a different little process for me, but I definitely enjoyed it a lot more. With it being that it was made a little bit faster than most of my other courses, the amount of decoration and extra stuff put on this course isn't a whole bunch. I wanted to do that because I keep giving myself burnout specifically on decorations and stuff like that, as it is not really my favorite thing to do. I much prefer the design of golf holes compared to putting all the little plants and decorating all the little lakes and stuff like that. I just like the golf side of stuff a lot more. So, all right. This course, as I said, is based off of Sahalee Country Club. Basically, the only thing, if you haven't seen the course, the only thing you really need to know is it is a very tight course with spruce trees. All over the course, it is just playing around trees, near trees, and all that fun stuff. So I decided to kind of take that and copy it out here, having a lot of tight tree holes and just a lot more thought into every single shot instead of just grip it and rip it. Missing with very slows and very fast every single time will put you in the woods and leave you a very, very difficult shot out. So I guess let's go ahead and get right into it. This is my little entranceway. Nothing super special going on here. Road kind of just cuts off in the woods, but it's just come up to our little clubhouse. I didn't spend a bunch of time decorating it. As I said, I'm not too into the decoration. I was kind of proud of this little staircase back here, which I think looks really, really cute. Other than that, very basic little clubhouse area with a little driving range, which I actually really do enjoy this driving range. It gives you kind of a sense of some of the trees out here. It gives you a little fairway to hit down for drives, gives you a little par 3 green. And also you can even hit from the bottom side down here, as there is a secondary tee box to hit from. Other than that, let's go ahead and hop down here onto the first hole. First, I'm just going to show you what everything looks like without this little screen. This is what I usually edit under with all these little measure lines and all this stuff like that. This is usually how I like mark out my holes as I'm designing. Some holes go through less intense markings, like this one right here. I only marked the bunkers, whereas this one here I marked a little bit of the fairway lines, some of the green fronts, some of the bunkers. I mean, for the most part, it is just me marking stuff out as I want to go. Some of them these are like tree lines right here. That's just kind of some of my measurements that I do around the course. All right, let's go ahead and get down here to hole number 1. Let me see if I can turn on the links. I think I usually like this one right here, I think, yeah. All right, so our first hole here, coming up to a little bit of a shorter hole. This one is only around 370, 380. But it is quite a difficult one, as most players will be landing right here around this little bunker complex. And what this hole forces you to do is it either forces you to lay up in this big open area where you'll have to contend slightly with this branch. Now keep in mind you are only 100-something yards out, so most players can go over this branch really, really easy. Oh, sorry, I flew off the map a little bit there. So yeah, most people will be able to go over this branch pretty easy from layups, from bunker shots. You will have to play a little pitch under the tree instead. For players who are trying to get it a little further up, you could either try to land it up over this into this area, which isn't exactly flat. It can kick your ball off to the left down the sill, or off to the right down the sill, or off to the left off into the woods over here. So hitting a really good shot that actually gets you up here or near the green is very difficult. And same thing with if you're trying to pressure a shot up this right side a little bit. Because of this mound, you will either sit somewhere right in here, which is the perfect shot, or you will catch this hill and it'll take you all the way down here somewhere, usually leaving you about a 50, 60 yard shot into a very difficult green. At least for this side. If you are chipping from straight on, this is a pretty simple little green. It's very big, very flat, but when you are short-sided over here, this becomes a whole different ball game, because if you land anywhere short here, you are rolling about 50 yards down this hill. You do not sit right here on the edge most of the time. You usually roll all the way down here somewhere. And that was done on purpose. It was to give this hole a little bit more of a challenge. With it being such a short little hole, it would be way too easy of a birdie opportunity with a simple green. So give it a little bit of difficulty here. I really do enjoy the green and just how this entire hole plays. There's really nothing I would change here. All right, heading on to hole number 2 here. Hole number 2 is the hardest golf course, or hardest hole on the golf course by far. This thing just has a mean tee shot and a mean second shot. Even with a very well-placed drive, getting to the green and in position on your second shot is extremely difficult. So if you come down here and take a look at the fairway, our landing area is about right here. The problem is with this landing area is it all kind of slopes to the left. So if you land on the left half right here, you will almost for sure kick over either into the rough or into the bunker. So you have to land somewhere in this area right here to allow it to kick up and kind of roll and stop somewhere right here in the middle or on the left side. And then this brings in the hardest part about this hole is this one singular tree up by the green that is guarding everything. So this one tree right here is guarding most of this green, and this green is by far the most difficult green on the course. This thing is slopey, and if you aren't on the right spot of this green or the right side of the pin here, it can be impossible to get par at some points. For the most part, most balls that land up here on the left or the right will kick down onto the green or roll off onto this side and give you a decent chance back up for par. But you can be in spots like right here where you're short-sided of this pin, where it becomes a lot harder, where you'll have to take a little chip on the green and hope you can get it to stop before it goes off the far edge. And with this hole being so slopey, anything coming down through here is going to be on the edge of this fairway or even down into the heavy rough. So it is not an easy chip back up. And I don't know if you could notice, but the hardest thing about this hole actually is the elevation. If I were to take my measure tool and put it right here, about where most players will land, and I go up to the green, it is up 60 feet from down in the fairway to the green from a perfect drive. This is what makes this hole so difficult, is everything is pushing you over to the left, and then you've also got to climb this hill on such a long hole. I mean, it's 450, but it plays more like 500 from the back. And not only that, but because this whole fairway slopes from left or from right to left, most players will be aiming right here on this side of the green, and what they don't realize is their shot gets pulled, and their shot gets pulled right into this tree. The amount of players and the amount of times I personally have hit this tree is more than I've hit the green for sure, or more than I've even been past it. I'm usually around here, or around here when I play this hole for the most part. Very, very, very difficult hole. Getting a par here is all you really can hope for. All right, coming on down to hole number 3. This one is a big elevated tee shot. Got two bunkers kind of semi-stacked on each other, give a little bit of a visual game, kind of just making this whole side kind of blocked off. But the thing is here is most drives will be landing down in this humongous open area. I mean, there's a lot of fairway down here. Missing the fairway is pretty difficult unless you're really going for something. But the big problem is this is a semi-double dogleg hole. As you can see, we got one coming around to the left here, and we got a little bit coming around to the right here, to this back right portion of the green. So now if the flag is on this left side of the green, you can hit it over here and be basically okay. I mean, you have a little bit of trees to contend with, but for the most part, you're fine. But for the most part is you want to play it over to this left side of the fairway, kind of using this central hump in the fairway right here. One side kicks you to the right, one side kicks you to the left. Obviously, you want to be over here on the left. But being over here on the left means from the tee box, you have to contend and take it either over or around this corner right here. Now, getting down here into this little open area leaves you a little 90-yard shot into one of the flattest greens on the course. Other than this little bowl right here, this green is very flat, very simple. You can definitely make a birdie putt here if you can get on the green in 2. But that's the hard part, is getting here in 2. Other than that, pretty simple little hole, pretty easy. It's just a double dog leg, brings a lot of challenge into it, and if you're not paying enough attention to the fairway slopes, you will get got out here. That's one thing a lot of people don't really pay attention too much anymore. I notice is people just kind of hit their ball in the fairway and just let it do whatever. You need to be paying attention to all the little slopes and all the little bumps, especially for people like me. I specifically design all those slopes to do something, not just to be little mounds and bumps there. They're actually meant to do something. All right, coming on to 4. I'm going to be honest, this is my least favorite hole in the golf course, but it is not a bad hole in general. Got a little double lake here with a little dam separating the two. Got our tees kind of all stacked up here, and coming on down to the green, we got a very challenging green with little different sections to it. We have a very large right front section where basically anything landing in here is going to kind of kick down towards the green and very possibly roll on. For the most part, this is one big bowl up here. But for the whole left side of the screen, this is where it gets very difficult. These 2 left pins, I've seen a lot of people hit it in the water going for these 2 pins, me included. It's just a very, very scary spot. And I mean, you don't want to leave it to the right of this pin because you got to putt over this mound. You don't want to leave it to the left or up here because this is a really fast putt coming back down. I mean, this is just a very, very scary hole. Making par here is a miracle. This hole in particular, when I play tested it with my friends, we had one with an 8, one with a 5, and me with a bogey. So far this hole has claimed the highest scores in the entire golf course with just the 3 of us playing. Other than that, pretty simple little hole. Just hit your good tee shot, get on the green, make a 2-putt, and get out of there. All right, coming up to hole number 5. This one is one of the limited tee shot holes where you're not hitting a driver. You are most likely hitting a hybrid or something. This hole gives you a small layup area here where you can lay up and have an angle to go in from the green, but you are going to be quite a ways out. This is probably putting you closer to 200, maybe not quite, but pretty close. Yeah, 188 from here, so pretty long little shot. Coming on down to here, most people, the intended shot for what most people are going to do is going to be landing their drive right over this with a hybrid. And if you land right over this bunker or right here down this little open area, you will stop before the water and this slope will not kill you. But if you land right here in the open area, like some people will do if they're not paying attention, they will end up bouncing down into the water or hopefully get caught by this little sliver of heavy rough here. So this is when you really have to think about your tee shot, but once you get your tee shot down and you get it in the fairway, it is a 130 shot into a fairly simple green. I mean, these pins aren't super challenging here. Just get it within 10, 15 feet of the flag and you have a decent chance for a birdie on this hole. All right, moving on down to hole number 6. This is a special little par 5 over here. This one's starting off with a very not difficult tee shot, but one that definitely makes you think on what you want to do, because you can lay up short into this area here and have either a semi-blocked, an open shot, or a completely open shot over here on the right. Just depends on how much risk you want to take. Obviously, this is open, this is a little bit riskier, and this is quite riskier with the trees. Your third option or fourth option here is to land it somewhere right in here and have it bounce on down and take this little roll and come down to rest somewhere in here. Now, this is the best way to play this hole if you can hit that shot, because this will leave you with an open shot down this second fairway straight up to the green. It is a tighter tee shot or a tighter second shot with all the trees here, but it has also got a little bigger brother over here in case you need to lay up with a lot more fairway space, a lot more layup area, just a lot more stuff to do in general. Now, this hole all depends on your tee shot. If you have a bad tee shot on this hole, it can make this a bogeyable hole, a very bogeyable par 5. But if you hit a good one and you get nestled down into here, into this lower area off the bat, you have a very good chance at a birdie, even a chance at an eagle. I haven't made an eagle here yet just because it's pretty hard to get a long iron to land pretty close to a pin here, but you can definitely get it around this green or on this green in 2. Yeah, I'll be honest, this is one of my favorite little concepts I have out here. There's just little double fairway. It's nothing super special, but I definitely like it, and it's something unique. All right, coming on down to hole number 7. This design was inspired directly off of a course called Forest Hills in Augusta. One of their par threes out there has this big old hump right in front of the green. It's not really a hump, but it's an area that is heavy rough, just kind of wrapping around the edge of the green a little bit. And it's got this little fairway sliver, and it just looks beautiful. And I decided to copy that for this hole, and I think it does a fantastic job putting this green a little bit on a plateau while still allowing players areas to miss down here in the lows. Got 2 little runoff areas catching people over here. Got a little runoff area in the back catching people that go long, and 2 little nice nestled bunkers that just frame the hole very well. Got 2 different plateaus up here for our harder pins, and honestly, this pin right here in the front, I believe this is the number 1 pin. This one is brutal. It's definitely not unplayable by any terms. You can get your ball to stop here from any direction on this green. It takes a perfect shot from either the tee box or your second shot to get close here. I mean, just one of my favorite holes out here, just in terms of looks from the tee box. All right, coming up to number 8. Number 8 is our uphill blind shot. This one, I like it just because it is just one singular bunker right at the top of the hill, just perfectly placed, and it is in a good spot too for drives. For our longer drivers, for our guys hitting just the longest drivers in the game are going to get past this fairly easily. But anybody hitting it, like I hit my drive, I think 305 in this game, and I'm landing like right here. Now, if I put some upward loft on it, I can get it over this thing fairly comfortably. But even with the extra distance and getting it down this hill, getting it to roll out a bit, getting it to this green in 2 is extremely difficult. I mean, you're looking at usually around 260 uphill. It may not look like it's uphill, but it's uphill from here a good ways. Talking like 50 feet or so uphill. So what I've found on this hole is this little green side bunker right here captures so many shots. A lot of people going for the green are going to end up here. Your optimal spot is about right here, 20, 30 yards out, so you can get a little flopper in on this kind of complex green. For the most part, this should be an easy birdie and an easy par, unless you end up in the woods. Even still, it shouldn't be that hard. You can usually get a layup out somewhere and get your third shot onto the green. For this hole, the big things are don't miss long. While a lot of the long is sloped and you will come back onto the green, missing one long here and having to come back it's just a death sentence. You're not getting out of it. And while all these other pins are very, very easily playable from just about any direction, this bottom pin is very, very brutal from anybody who's stuck up top right here. I'm talking you have to just edge it off, and even then you may not stay on. This is a very punishing pin, and not only that, but it is kind of tucked behind the trees from back here in the fairway, so you really have to hit a good one kind of off here to the right so you can get a good little angle into that pin. All right, got our little walk up to 9 up here. And number 9, I really do enjoy this one. This is, I believe, the only easily drivable par 4 out here. It is meant to be drive. It is meant to have layups. Like, it's meant to have a lot of decisions here. So we have got a little bit of a fairway running up into a tree right before our green, and 3 little bunkers kind of stacked kind of diagonally across. And what really makes this hole special, in my opinion, is you got this straight fairway with a bunker here, 2 bunkers here, so it kind of creates a visual stacking effect of all these bunkers. And then you've got this huge layup area over here, which is the optimal layup area on this hole. And then you've got a smaller one here for people just kind of hitting it up the middle. So there's a very wide area right here where you can land. And if you hit a fade, there's a big area over here for your fade. Now, coming into this green, this whole green slopes from this top side down to this bottom side. So any chip down here is going to stop very quick and be pretty easy to get close. But for people going for the green and people missing long, which usually happens, people usually missing long on this hole or left, missing left and long, any of those two is very bad, because coming back onto this green with all these slopes come down, you have to land a perfect shot on the edge of this green and just barely get it to trickle. And that can be so difficult to do. I really do enjoy this hole. The only thing I think it might need some more stuff up in here somewhere, maybe just some hills or something. But other than that, this is a beautiful little hole. I really do like the difficulty of it, but it definitely puts out the most birdies on the whole course. I mean, what do you expect from a drivable par 4 in a video game? People are going to get birdies on it. All right, and that's our whole first 9, wrapping up this whole side of the property over here. I'm going to take a drink real quick, and then I'm going to hop into the back 9. Oh, that was good. All right. Hopping into the back 9 here, starting out with number 10. Number 10 is quite the difficult hole, probably one of the most difficult on this 9. I'm going to be honest, this back 9 is a lot harder than the front 9. Just from looks, I mean, it's just hard. This whole fairway, I don't know if you can tell, but it slants very hard from right to left. And out in the fairway here, we have a bunch of little mounds, kind of catching like little tiers. You've got a little tier back here in the back to catch you. Got a little tier right here to catch you, and a little tier right here to catch you. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't even need these tiers in particular. If you land right, your ball could stop without these tiers. It's just these help you get a little bit of a flatter spot to hit from and a little bit more of an area to land at. So if you want to have a 220, a 200, a 180 shot in. Now, this is a very, very long hole, especially if you're laying up here. It is very downhill, so most people actually will be taking a 3-wood off of this tee instead of a driver, because most drivers are going to go through this fairway and leave you a very, very difficult shot out of this heavy rough. But perfect drives that do land right here on this part of the fairway will, instead of kicking forward, kick around this corner and kind of down and feed down into this lower area. So with a perfect drive, you can have about a 90-yard shot into this green and make this a lot easier of a hole. I mean, this green right here is a lot easier from 90 yards than it is from 200 yards. You can still land it on the green and hit good shots. It's just a lot more difficult. Now, one thing about this little green, I really do like this green a lot. I like the shape of it a lot, and I like this little, it's not I wouldn't call it exactly a false front because it's like a false side. It's not really a front of the green. But either way, it's a big catch area that makes these 2 pins a lot scarier to be around and just gives you a big, nice roll off down into this low down here, which makes it for a very difficult chip coming back up to any of these 2 pins right here. So yeah, that's it for this little hole. Coming on down to hole number 11. This is one of my favorite holes just from the tee box. I just absolutely love the look of this hole. From the 2 stacked bunkers to these 2 framing the green really, really well, to the green in the background, the couple of mounded trees around, the little overhanging tree with all the water, the bridge. I mean, I just love this little view from this tee box right here. And for the hole in general, it's a par hole. It's not usually a birdie for most people, but this is a very easy par hole. Even if you miss the green, it's an easy up and down chip. I mean, we got our little front tier here, which is usually where the 1 pin is, so most people will be playing at this. I think this is our 4 pin over here, which can be a little bit more difficult, especially if you miss left. But, I mean, even still, if you miss left, it's a fairly easy up and down. And this top tier is fairly big up here, got a lot of room, but it can be a little bit scary hitting to the top tier from the back tee back here, especially with this bunker right behind this little roll-off area and all these little rolls too. So it's kind of on a plateau by itself. All right, this is a little area I wanted to look at real quick. So this is 11 green and this is 5 green, and right here nestled in between we have 12 tees. I wasn't originally thinking about connecting any of these holes up, but it just so happened to be that their greens are close enough, and I was going to put the tee box here, and I just figured running fairway between them all would look nice, and it does. It turns out it looks really, really well. I like this whole entire little area right here. It's very beautiful. A lot of nice little curves and stuff. All right, coming on down to number 12. Number 12 is also one of our shorter holes. This one is only measuring at 260 or something, I believe. 290 from the backs, but that's because of the dog leg. Straight to the green, you're looking at 277. So a lot of players may come up here and think, oh, I could drive this hole, or just look at the scorecard and think, oh, I could drive this hole. But you got all these trees here. There is a small gap here, but I'm talking it takes a 3-wood with insane loft and like probably a 110% to get to the green. Like, it would take such a good shot that I'm completely fine with leaving this open. 90% of people who go for this are going to end up in the woods or somewhere worse. But in terms of our fairway right here, I really do love the framing of this hole between this bunker here and this one here, just kind of blocking out the whole fairway. And then you can just barely see the tip of this bunker on the left side of the fairway as well. And I mean, this fairway right here is fairly simple for the most part. We got a little mound here, kicking people off over here for the little punishment for going too short, kicking people to here for a nice little angle into the green, and all the way down here, we got a little bit of movement going on to kind of hold people either here, here, or down in here for the miss. The miss shot, obviously, it just means you're going to be even lower down coming up to this and minorly blocked out by the tree. Not much, but just a little bit, especially to these back pins. And I mean, this green right here is just very difficult. I mean, you can see how this is just all a climb shot. I mean, this is way uphill from down here in this fairway. And when you come up to the green, this green right here has the least amount of puttable surface on the entire course. And I think it does very well for how much puttable surface it has, because for the most part, this is a bit of a bowl. I mean, you got this big mound up here kicking shots down. You got, I mean, this big old bowl, this is a bowl right here. I mean, it's catching shots. And you got this little plateau up here, which can be a little bit more difficult. But in terms of a golf hole, I really do enjoy this one for how short it is. I think it has plenty of defenses to protect the birdies. I think getting a birdie out here is fairly difficult. You have to land a good shot onto your tier, a good shot. A 10, 15-foot putt here is not an easy one to make on this green. And even then, missing onto the top tier here is one of the scariest shots on this golf course. Your ball can stop. I've play tested it plenty of times, but just having to putt this or chip this and get it to stop before it rolls off the edge can be extremely scary here. As any shot rolling off the edge of the screen is rolling down a good 20, 30 yards down the fairway. All right, coming on to number 13. Number 13 is a beautifully designed little hole here. I really do love the tee shot from this hole, between just being able to see the green off the bat, this little area of grass over here with these 3 bunkers stacked, another bunker up here, these bunkers right here. This one I did a little visual thing where this looks like 3 bunkers, but it's actually just 2 bunkers. It's just got a little mound here that matches up with the grass, feeling like it separates it into 2. What I really like about this hole, though, is the fact that you've got 3 different lanes to choose from. Each lane getting further and further to hit from the tee box. Like this right here, I think is a good 310. This right here is a good like 325. And this obviously is like 220 or something. So this is the winds in your face, or just you want to hit a safe drive play right here. Now, the problem is with this hole is it rewards you for your risky shots. At some point on this hole, you have to hit a hard risky shot, either from the tee box or your second shot. So if you take the safe route off the tee box, you're going to have a difficult second shot where you have to bring it out here and bring it around this tree. If you're to this pin, if not, it's still a hard shot because you're over 200, around 200 out. Now you play it up a zone. You got a lot easier shot. Maybe have a little bit of contention with the trees, but not much at all. You're looking at more like a 150. Now you go for it all the way, get all the way up to here. You're looking at more of a 100-yard shot, and you've got the entire green opened up to yourself to where you can hit any pin you want. Now, that's just the thing with this hole. It is all risk reward, and that's the thing. No matter where you hit it, if you play a safe shot, you're going to be hitting a hard shot next, or you hit a hard shot, you're going to be hitting a safe shot next. There's a hard shot to hit on this hole, and I really do appreciate this hole for that. It is very difficult, but at the same time, if you play it right, it can be a very easy par, even a birdie, to get out of here. I mean, it looks a lot more difficult than it actually is, in my opinion. Now, I will say one thing is, do not miss this green long. You miss this green long, you are dead in most circumstances. I mean, you just look at chipping coming back to any of these flags from back here. Chipping on a downslope, chipping on a downslope. I mean, this is a dead green to be long of. So if anything, you want to miss short or I think left, yeah. If you miss left down here, you're usually fine. All right, coming on to 14. One thing I wanted to mention, I've always kind of struggled with tee boxes, just kind of thinking about what shape or what design I want to use. For this course, I mainly just went with the regular square tee boxes for the most part. I got a little creative in a couple areas that I felt like could use it. For the most part, the par 3s are the ones that I got a little creative on. Everything else is, for the most part, staying pretty flat. Pretty flat and pretty basic. All right, so let me make sure I am on the right hole number. Yes, so we're on 14 here. This one is quite a difficult little hole. I mean, you just look at this tee box and tell me where the green is. You tell me anything about this hole. I mean, this is just all trees. You're just looking into a sea of trees and grass that you want to be on. I mean, hitting a good shot on this hole is vital off the tee box. You hit it into the woods here, you are probably making a bogey. This is around 550, I believe, so you can make it there in two. It just takes a good shot. So most people's drives, our longer drivers, will be able to carry this bunker just by a hair and be able to hit it down through here. Now, this is an insane shot because you have to not only draw it around this tree, but make it around this big old limb right here, or this big old trunk, and get it down into this. And now, if you hit a good draw with a good power, you can get it to fade all the way down into here and have about 220 or so into the flag. Not too bad for a par 5. Now, there is another way you can play it where you play it out here to the right in this big old open area. There are two catches. There's one short, one little bowl short, and one little bowl long to kind of give you two different options, two different distances, about 20, 30 yards difference. This from up here is, I believe, around 220 to the green. This is more like 240, 250. So either way, you can make it to the green with a solid fade. It's just you have to make it out around these trees and get it there. Otherwise, most people would just lay it into this big old layup area that's very, very safe and very inviting to the players. Other than that, most other drives will end up being anywhere around this area, which constitutes a hard shot. You either have to think about hitting a little pitch down here into this little layup area short, or you have to smash a wood and hope you can get it across the gap right here. One of my favorite little spots to end up on this hole is where a lot of people end up is right here, like right in this little area where you really don't have a clear idea of what you want to do. You've got trees directly in front of you that you could smash it through the gap, which is usually what most people do because it's a video game. Or you can play a little tiny chip out here, little layup to here to have about 180 into the pin, maybe even shorter depending on how far you push it down this hill. I mean, this is just one of my favorite tee shots on this golf course. There's just so many different things you could do, so many different ideas, and I think everybody's going to hit a different shot on this hole. Now, coming up to the green, not too much crazy about the green. I did this little double tree thing by this bunker. The green itself is fairly simple. As long as you are on the right tier on this green, par or birdie is in your bucket. The only thing that I will say is hard is you miss this green to the left right here to these front pins, you are chipping back into a downslope, which you can very well get the ball to stop by the hole. It is just a little more difficult. All right, coming on down to 15. I believe this is our last par 3 of the course. This is also our longest one. This one's measuring around 210, 220, I believe, 237 in the back. So this one is quite long, and it has got some hard pins on the screen. I mean, I personally love the framing of this hole from the tee box, just being able to see the fairway, being able to see the green real nice perched up, the bunkers all presented very well. I really do enjoy the tee shot on this hole, and the green leaves nothing to be desired. I mean, this is just a hard green right here for the most part. Now, these two pins right here, very easy. These are the easy pins. You play it out here to the right. Either tier you are on, you can get a birdie or a par as long as you're on the green. Now, this flag right here, extremely difficult. This flag right here, extremely difficult. And that's because this one has the smallest landing area on the course. You're talking about hitting shot from 230 out, and you have to land it right in here. I'm talking perfectly with some height so that that thing can stop before it gets past this mound to where it goes down and rolls down through here. And that's also what makes this hard, is because to get close to this pin back here, you have to land it very precise here to where you just get over this mound and just start to creep down, because coming across this with too much pace is going to send you down to the bottom of the hill. Now, I will say it's not the worst thing in the world being down here at the bottom. This is a very easy chip back up. You're chipping up into an upslope. It's a very flat pin, really not that hard. But this pin right here will draw some bogeys out every now and again. This is a lot more difficult than the other three on this hole. Definitely our challenge pin. All right, now coming on down to hole number 16. This hole is monstrous. Looking at the scorecard, this is measuring at a 663. This hole is huge in terms of distance. Now, coming up here to the tee shot, it looks pretty unassuming for the most part. I mean, you got one bunker in the middle, a fairly flat fairway, not too much going on. Now, it's once you hit your first shot and you start to realize, oh, wow, I got a long way to go to that green still. And what can happen here is people playing it safe to this little fat area. Now you can do that, but the problem is, what do you bring yourself open into? You're going to have to hit a little chip shot out here or really try to hook one around this corner to get it down this little gullyway. God, I really hate when this game does that. All right. So yeah, you're either going to have to lay up here, hit a power draw around this little corner, or what most people are doing is trying to get it out up above this bunker somewhere so they can get a good angle into the green. Now, for the most part, your second shot here is usually just to grip it and rip it. Most people, if you have long clubs and you hit a good drive, are going to be landing right here around this bunker. Now, anybody who hits a bad shot or just wants to hit a safe layup shot, you've got all this layup area, all this safety to hit into. But, you know, it's a video game. Most people aren't going to do that. Most people are going to be going down here somewhere. Now, playing safe back here leaves you a good little approach shot. It leaves these 3 trees out of the way for the most part, to where you can hit a good little shot and land it into the green. Even if you're back left, you can kind of draw it around a little bit. Now, people get a little too greedy sometimes, and they end up pushing themselves out to here to where you are forced to hit a pitch shot. And while it's not the worst in the world, sometimes you can get in a bad spot and have to go around one of these trees or just play out to the side of one of these trees because of where they are. For the most part, I mean, these trees don't really come into play a bunch, but they are a minor inconvenience to most players on this hole. In terms of the green here, really nothing super special going on with the green. It's just all sloped right to left. We got a big old catch here, false front here, and some minor little roll-offs to put you in the fairway down here, and a little bitty little bowl kind of catch here, kind of bringing people down off the green a tad bit for this back pin. Other than that, usually most people will make a par on this hole. Now, if you hit one bad shot here, it is a very easy bogey just because of how long the hole is. All right, climbing the hole up here to 17. 17 is a big uphill hole. I really do like this hole. I like the tee shot here. We have got a big layup area here, the safe shot, which is going to leave you a long way into this flag. I'm talking like 220 or so. Like, yeah, back here is 240, up here is 220. And I mean, this is 250 from the tee, so this is a safe layup for most players. Now, anybody who is going for it and really wanting to get an easier shot is going to be going directly over this bunker. Once you get over this bunker, if you can get it nestled in between this tree and these bunkers up here, you can have like 150, 160 in, a lot shorter of a shot. Now, the bailout here is over here into this little catch, this little low, which ends up putting you in a spot to where you really can't get to the green, because even with a good fade, you're going to end up being caught by these 2 greenside trees. So you basically are forced to push it out here and just go for your up and down. So that's why most people, or in my opinion, most people should be playing either to here or to here to either get a longer, harder shot in, or go and get that longer, harder shot out of the way from the tee box. Now, in terms of the green on this hole, coming up this fairway is very difficult. As you can see, we've got trees overhanging here. We got a tree here. So you really have to nestle it in between these trees up to this green on one of the longer par 4s in the course. Now, the one saving grace of this hole for most players is the green here is massive for the most part. The green is very slopey. It's very easy to get in a little catch area. I mean, it's not the hardest green on the course unless you are on the opposite side of the green from the flag. I will say this is the one pin right here. This is probably the hardest pin on the course just because it is sitting on a slope that is sloping to the back of the green. So you really have to barely inch it up here to get it to sit by the flag. Otherwise, you're chipping up into this, which really isn't that hard. It's an easy par, but if you want a birdie, it takes a perfect shot to get it next to this flag. All right. Coming on down to hole number 18. Hole 18 is a pretty simple little par 4. Got a little nestled tee shot between the trees, little bunker here. It's similar-ish design to some of the other holes where we have a big mound running right here down this whole spot, basically attaching itself to the bunker. So if you're on the left side of this mound, you get perfectly positioned right here to a good layup on the hole, where if you hit it out to the right, you can be blocked out to the trees and are forced to hit a bit of a fade into the screen. Now, I will say this is an easy hole. There's nothing super challenging here. It is hit the fairway, hit the green, get out of there. There's nothing super hard here. This is definitely a birdieable hole. It's one of the more birdieable ones in the course, in my opinion, as long as you can hit the fairway off the tee. And this is also where I kind of worked on making my my signature hole for the course. I decided to add some little trees, little shrubs in the background. I have these nice little triple stack bunker right here to really bring out this portion of the course, just so you can have something to remember as you're walking out of here. So in fact, I think I'm gonna get a little screenshot, and this is probably gonna be my thumbnail for the video. So let me see. Grab that and that. And there we go. Got our little screenshot. Yep, but I mean, other than that, this green right here is pretty simple. It's just got a little bowl here, a little bowl back here. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. As long as you're not long on this hole, it is a very easy par/birdie. All right, that is pretty much it with the course overview here. Course showcase, whatever I call these things nowadays. But I hope you guys wouldn't mind playing the course, giving it a good old look. See what your thoughts are on it. Other than that, I mean, I'm just happy to get this course out of here. I have been in a position where I have been way too much on the perfectionist side of things recently, where it's almost like I'm just not posting stuff anymore, and it's because I'm not, because I get way too perfectionist with stuff, and I just don't want to do anything unless it is perfect. So that is what this course was. This is me posting something in under a month from start to finish, not worrying about all the little tiny details, all the little decorations. I just wanted to design something fun for me that I enjoyed, and I love this course. I mean, I would say 15, 16 of the holes out of the 18 here, I love and will love forever. I mean, these are beautifully designed holes. Like this, I love this hole. I love 8. I love 9. I love 18. I love 17. I mean, a lot of these holes out here, I just love the design of. I think I did a very, very good job on it. And for me, myself, I really can't ask much more in terms of the design, especially with this game. I mean, the only things I would like to do more is stuff with the bunkers, make the bunkers a little more intricate, like McKenzie style, but that's so difficult to do in this game, especially with how it's set up. But all right, other than that, so I don't go into like a 50-minute ramble about golf, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the course. Let me know what you shoot in the comments if you give it a try. And I will see you guys next time.